Hi, welcome to class number 1, part 2 for mobile interactive app programming for the International Summer University at Ostfalia, Germany. This is Professor Quevedo again, and this is the second part of the first class in which we will actually talk about the challenges of developing mobile applications due to the fact that there are multiple devices and platforms for the development and what are the possible solutions and what is the approach that we will follow in this class. Let me just say something that maybe wasn't clear on my first part when I was introducing the course. In each class, we have some lectures, and the lectures mainly will be discussed through a series of um, videos like the ones that you're watching right now. And most videos will have us associated an activity like for this class you got 3 activities in which I expect that you participate. So in my first video lecture I just introduced the course, and the first activity is, so after you completed the video lecture, then you can start working on the activity in case that wasn't the case. So the first part was the introduction of the course. Then once we finish, you can log in into D12, and then you were introducing yourselves to the class, and the purpose of that was that you were getting familiar with D12 and posting. So there you were saying your name and your interest and other additional information about your experience with programming and mobile development. So once you're done with that, then we come to the next part of the lecture, which in this case will be mobile apps. Um, and I will discuss two parts here. I mean, so I'm gonna give some examples, and then uh, for you next part, you will have a quiz about the next two PowerPoints that I will present. And all these materials are also available in D12, so you can also get the PowerPoints from there. Okay, so again, the first part is about the challenge of developing mobile apps. So what is the main the problem that we're addressing here? Well, is that well we want to develop and we want to get the ma- max number of users uh, that can have our apps. The problem is that when you have an idea to develop uh, an app for a mobile device, you got the problem of multiple platforms. Like, for example, most people would think, oh, well, if I develop this and then this works for iPhone, not necessarily will work for an Android, for example. And then that will limit the number of people that they can interact with your app, right? So here, this is a nice graph that tells about some of the years in which some of the platforms were implemented, and, and how is that after that there were people that were comfortable using such device or such platform. But the problem is that now we got too many, and like you see in this graph, maybe you can make an analysis and say, well, if I just need to learn one, or I like this device, what will be the percentage of the market that I can target by knowing that skill? For example, here with this information about 2012, you can see that the majority of the users have some type of Android app. So maybe you will be happy of just developing for Android, and then you don't have any of the problems that will be discussed in this PowerPoint, because you say, well, I just want to know Android and then I can develop. Then you know that you will be reaching a percentage of the users that have that uh, type of device or enable device to use on Android. But you know there will be another group that you won't be reaching because they use other platforms or they have other devices. Now, in one of the activity number 3, I'm asking the group the class divided in 5 groups, and each one is gonna read an article from the web page, and you will see that instructions in D12. And then one of them will have an updated data about, because you see this is from 2012. The latest that we got is from the end of 2014, in which these numbers change a little, and that will be interesting if that group presents the more of the numbers, which I think the will be how there was an increase in users in Android and a decrease in people using the iPhone. And then another important piece of information that you will see from one of the groups that will be presenting is that there is information about how this is being used by continents and even by um, countries. Like something that I noticed is that there is um, I mean, the number of users, the percentage in using Android and iPhone is not the same in the US, in Europe, in other countries, and I want you to see those numbers from one of the presentations that we have today. But okay, just by looking into this, another possible solution that you can think is as well, maybe if I learn how to use Android and iOS or the iPhone, then I can get basically the majority, right? But I'm still missing other users. So um, the other idea would be, well, maybe I should be knowledgeable of all possible platforms that are there available. But these will have some type of difficulties. Like, for example, I mean, the ones that are listed here, it will be very time consuming for you to develop. Okay, I'm done doing my Android now. I'm gonna go and develop my iPhone. I'm gonna develop for this and this. And um, so that will have other challenges like cost, the type of knowledges, and there will be some differences in the developer in the environment. Like, oh, here is this and that. I mean, it's just a challenge. I mean, it's doable, but maybe it's not efficient, because maybe the idea is, okay, you develop one app and you will hope that you are done and everybody can actually access your app, or that can reach, or is available for everybody that has a mobile device. That will be ideal, right? So then we got two possible way of doing that. We call the platform independent solutions, and one is the approach that we're following in this class is that we develop a mobile web app in which every time that somebody wants to use that, they just access on a specific web page, and that's it. And you got a mobile app there, so you don't have to install. Another idea is what they call the closed platform mobile development tools, in which you use some type of language, and then you develop one single app, and then that single app is kind of exported into other platforms. Or maybe what you need to do to transform it, if that's not 100% ready, you do just some minimal changes or customization to have it ready in the other. So these are good ideas, right? And each one will have advantages and disadvantages. So we will be playing an emphasis in this class on working on mobile web apps. And for this case, so we will use we will use basically the idea of like developing a web page which can be used from any type of browser, and that also can act as a mobile web app that can be accessible from all mobile devices. And um, here are some of the examples. I mean, that you can go to a specific place, and then you have the type of web page that works already for a mobile device, and there is not a need to do any installations. So now, let's make the difference in what we call a native app and a mobile web app, because that's the part that may be confusing. I mean, in the native app, you are actually developing that in the specific platform. Like, for example, you're doing that for iOS, you're using Objective-C, you're using the Android, you're developing that in Java. I mean, you're actually creating that app, and it's going to be specific for that platform. And it has a lot of advantages, because you're creating something that is specific for that device, and it should be faster in their performance. and 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 there will be places in which you can uh, have the app for the users of that specific platform to search for it, right? So it will have a disadvantage in the case of a mobile web app that is going to be accessed from basically from the device by looking into a specific URL in most cases. But you want to advertise these, and people that is searching from their device in the marketplaces, they won't find it. That will be a disadvantage. I mean, and again, this will have advantages and disadvantages, and then the idea of the development is that you will have, I mean, just one platform that is most of them based on using HTML5 and JavaScript, and then from that you have the idea that you can basically reach most of the devices of in most cases depending on the app that you develop in all of them. But again, you need to be aware of advantages and disadvantages for each one of those. And again, here there are some additional examples that you can compare of you using a native app versus a web app. And again, here we will be working with a with a mobile web. Okay, so here is just some of the examples that you can look into. Now, because of advantages and disadvantages, well, we need to make a decision in, and what is it that we need to do, right? And then one way is to think about the future. What will be the future of mobile web apps? So there's an interesting study by Global Intelligence Alliance that basically says that it seems that so far we don't have enough information to decide which way to go because, like we say, it has advantages and disadvantages. And you see from these results, um, it seems that they are kind of equal the the expectations. But I tend to believe that there will be more into a single way of doing things because I mean we are all interested on reaching all uh, users or all potential customers from the developing just one single app. So we will find a way to compromise to do this. And this concludes this video lecture, and I will go into the next one. And then most of the um, information that you need to answer the quiz in activity 2 will be here. There is one question that you need from the next video lecture.